Hello students, today we will complete this chapter Hayavadana. Last time I told you the introduction of Hayavadana and introduction of its writer Girish Karnad. So the main characters in Hayavadana are Devadatta, Kapila, Padmini. These are the three main characters of Hayavadana. In the city of Dharampura, there was a reverend, a very respectful Brahmin, and his son was Devadatta, and Devadatta's friend was Kapila. All the three were very close friends. Devadatta and Kapila and later Padmini. Devadatta and Kapila were as close as their friendship is described like the friendship of Krishna and Balram, closeness of Ram and Lakshmana, love and Kush. They are very fast friends. Devadatta falls in love with Padmini and they decide to marry. And Kapila helps in their marriage. And after marriage, Padmini gets pregnant. And after that, both husband and wife, Devadatta and Padmini, they plan a trip, a picnic, and somehow Kapila also joins them. They go on a cart for picnic, and in the way there is a very beautiful flower, and Padmini desires to have those flowers. Very moment when Kapila learns that Padmini wants all those flowers, he immediately climbs up the tree, goes on the above, plucks the flowers, and comes back and hands that and gives that flowers to Padmini. And not only this, many other actions of Kapila and Padmini, they show that they are attracted towards each other. Devadatta also it starts becoming aware of this fact that his wife Padmini is attracted towards his friend Kapila. So at this he becomes very sad and he just remembers his promise that before marriage to Padmini, he had promised to Lord Rudra and Lord Kali that he will sacrifice his head to goddess Kali and sacrifice his arms to Lord Rudra. He remembers his promise before his marriage to Padmini. So at one point in the forest, they stop at they stop and start taking some rest. Devadatta tells Kapila and Padmini that you people just wait here, and I am going into the forest due to some work, and I shall be coming soon. Very soon I will come back. Devadatta goes into the forest. There he searches the temple of goddess Kali, and he enters the temple. There he finds sword of goddess Kali. As he had made promise before his marriage, he takes that sword, he cuts his head before the idol of goddess Kali. Now, Kapila and Padmini, they wait for a long time, and when Devadatta doesn't return, Padmini tells Kapila, just go into the forest and search for Devadatta. Why he did not return? As per instructions of Padmini, Kapila goes into the forest. He starts looking for Devadatta here and there, and ultimately he finds that temple of goddess Kali in the forest, and he learns the truth what has happened. He sees that Devadatta is falling on the ground, and his head is separate from his body, and he is no more. Seeing this condition of Devadatta, Kapila is full of grief. He says to himself, my closest friend of the world is no more. So, why should I live? He takes the sword and cuts his head, and he also dies, just like Devadatta. Now, only Padmini is only person left in the forest. She waits for both Devadatta and Kapila for a longer time, and both of them do not return. So she also decides that she will also go into the dense forest and look for them. And while searching, she also reaches the same temple of Kali, and there she sees the severed bodies of both Devadatta and Kapila. When she finds that both are dead, and she is only one left, she says to herself, my husband and closest friend Kapila is no more, so why should I live in this world? So she also decides to kill herself with the sword of goddess Kali. She takes up the sword and tries to kill herself. But at the very moment when she tries to cut her throat, goddess Kali appears before her. She tells, stop, Padmini, you cannot kill yourself because you are pregnant and one another life is inside you. You cannot kill yourself and kill your child. So Padmini says, O goddess Kali, you stopped me from dying. Why did you not stop these two people from dying? So you might laugh at this point that Girish Karnad has described in the play that what goddess Kali replies? Goddess Kali says, I didn't or I couldn't stop these two people from dying because I was sleeping. I had a nap, and due to my light sleep, I couldn't stop them from killing themselves. So this may be a religious joke, but this is the description in the play. So Padmini says, O goddess Kali, I shall not kill myself, but you will have to give me one boon. You will have to give them rebirth. You will have to make them live, both Devadatta and Kapila. Goddess Kali says, okay, you just put their heads to their bodies and touch them with my sword, and they will come back to life. Padmini does the same thing. She she takes the head of both Devdatta and Kapila and keeps in touch with their bodies and touches them with the sword of goddess Kali. And both Kapila and Devdatta come back to life. They get rebirth, they are live again, both Devdatta and Kapila. But there is one mistake by Padmini. And what is that mistake? And this very mistake is now going to make the theme of this play. And what is the mistake? The heads are changed. The head of Kapila is now the head of Devdatta, and head of Devdatta is now head of Kapila. Heads are changed, and so identities are changed. For a little while, they take it lightly. They think, oh, what a mess has happened. Our bodies, we have exchanged our bodies. But this creates a big problem because when they start going from there, Devdatta, and now who is Devdatta? The person who has head of Devdatta. And who is Kapila now? The person who has head of Kapila. Now both Devdatta and Kapila start claiming that Padmini is my wife. Devdatta says, Padmini is my wife because I have head of Devdatta, and head is superior to the body. Kapila says, no, Padmini is not your wife. Padmini is my wife because I have Devdatta's bodies. I put vermilion in her forehead with these hands. I accepted Padmini in marriage with these hands. So Padmini is my wife, not your wife. So a quarrel begins between them. So in order to settle their quarrel, they go to a rishi in the forest. Rishi. And students, I would also like to ask this question from you. What do you think? Who is now real husband of Padmini? Let me remind you that this story comes from Katha Saris Sagar. And this is means English version of Betal Pachisi as well. Bikram and Batal, popular stories you might have heard. Betal used to tell a very new stories and very complex stories, and at the end of the story he used to ask the question from Bikram, the king. So this is the question: who is real husband of Padmini now? So what does what is the decision that Rishi gives? Rishi says, according to Vedas, head is superior. Head is superior to body. Head is superior to body. So Padmini, Padmini's real husband is the person who owns the head of Devadatta. So Devadatta wins, and Padmini is now happy because Padmini wanted a wise mind and a strong body, which Devadatta has now. So, one main theme of this play is mind versus body. Mind is greater or body is greater? What is greater? So, this is not the end of the story. This is the climax of the story. Dear students, the rest story of this play, Hayavadana, we will deal in the next class. Thank you.